So let's talk about AI. It is, without a doubt, one of the most powerful tools we've ever created. But with all that power comes a huge potential for things to go wrong. That's where AI governance comes in. Now, this isn't about slowing down innovation. It's about building the essential guardrails to make sure this technology works for us, not against us. Let's dive in.
Think of an ungoverned AI ecosystem. It's a lot like this picture, right? Just a total mess of chaotic wiring. You've got immense power flowing through it, but it's unpredictable, disorganized, and honestly pretty dangerous. Without a clear plan, without any structure, it's really only a matter of time before something shorts out.
You know, for a long time, developing AI really did feel like the Wild West. Just this mad dash to build bigger, better, and faster models. But now, these systems are leaving the lab. They're entering our hospitals, our banks, our daily lives. And that's when the stakes get incredibly high.
We've kind of hit this tipping point. See, governance becomes absolutely non-negotiable the moment AI starts making critical decisions. I'm talking about medical diagnoses, loan applications, or even who gets hired for a job. In these cases, a mistake isn't just a bug in the code. It can cause real, significant harm to people and businesses.
So what kind of risks are we really talking about here? Well, they tend to fall into three main buckets. First up, you've got ethical and legal risks. Think about an HR tool that learns to discriminate against certain job candidates. Then there's operational risk. What happens if an AI in a hospital misreads a scan and gets a diagnosis completely wrong? And finally, you have technical risks, where bad actors can actually fool an AI into making terrible decisions.
And here's the real kicker. With AI, these risks don't just add up, they multiply. They can spiral out of control in ways that we just don't see with traditional software.
Okay, so why does this happen? It really boils down to two key things. On one hand, you have risks baked right into the model itself. So, if a big, foundational model is trained on biased data, that bias gets copied and pasted into every single application that's built on top of it. One flaw replicated thousands of times. On the other hand, you have risks from the context. How, where, and why an AI is being used in the real world introduces a whole new set of dangers.
The result is a total minefield of potential dangers. I mean, we're talking about massive regulatory fines and, of course, huge damage to a company's reputation. But it's also about more subtle things. Take model drift. That's when a model that was working great just starts to get worse over time. And the scary part is, you might not even notice it's happening until it's already caused a major problem.
You know, this quote just hits the nail on the head. The promise of AI is absolutely enormous, but if we don't have a responsible framework in place, we really do risk creating more problems than we solve. It's a pretty stark warning about the path we're on.
Okay, so that's the problem. We see the chaos, we understand the risks. The big question is, what do we do about it? How do we actually build those guardrails to keep this incredibly powerful technology on the right track?
Well, the answer is, we have to consciously and deliberately tame the algorithm. We need to move from that chaotic Wild West to a well-governed society. And our framework for doing that is AI governance.
So what is AI governance really, when you boil it all down? It's not just one policy or one tool. It's a complete system, a combination of rules, practices, and processes all working together. It's the framework that's designed to make sure AI is not only effective, but also fair, safe, and compliant.
Hey, remember that tangled mess of wires we saw at the beginning? Well, this is the after picture. Good governance is like a well-organized fuse board. It takes all that raw, chaotic power and channels it safely and reliably. Every wire has a purpose, every connection is deliberate, and you've got circuit breakers in place to prevent a disaster. This is order from chaos.
All right, so that's the big idea, but what does this actually look like in practice? You know, day to day, in the real world, how does this framework get applied? In practice, it's a whole life cycle from start to finish. It all begins with an idea for a new way to use AI. But before a single line of code gets written, that idea is thoroughly assessed for all the risks we've talked about, ethical, legal, you name it. Only after it's approved is it actually built with the right controls in place from day one. And this is so important, the job isn't over when it launches. That model has to be monitored constantly once it's out in the wild.
And this is what that monitoring actually looks like. I mean, check this out. This dashboard is tracking a live model for things like fairness, quality, and drift. See those red flags? That's the system automatically catching a potential issue, like a growing bias against a certain group, so that a human can step in and fix it before it causes any real-world harm.
This is governance in action.
So, after all that, where does this leave us? What's the real payoff for doing all this work? And maybe more importantly, what could our future with AI look like if we actually get this right?
Honestly, the payoff is just massive. Good governance is what ensures AI is used ethically and that all those risks are managed properly. It promotes transparency so we can actually understand how an AI makes its decisions, and it guarantees that we can hold someone accountable when things go wrong. Ultimately, this is what takes AI from being just a powerful, kind of scary tool to being a genuinely trustworthy partner for progress.
And that really leaves us with one last big thought. A governance framework gives us the rules of the road, it gives us the tools for oversight, but it leaves us with a huge question we all need to think about. In a world that's run more and more by algorithms, who is and who should be ultimately responsible?